Welcome back to another episode of Tough Men of Faith.
What's up,
I'm
Archie?
here with my co-host, Nick,
Robertson.
the man, Robertson.
He's not the man. He is a man.
A man.
Not the man.
A semi-tough man.
Wow. Semi-tough.
Semi-tough man of faith. Working on, because you're a work in progress, right? We all are.
Yeah, but this is tough men of faith, not semi-tough men of
That's
faith.
true. That's true. Tough man. So, Nick, last week we had on
Michael Schuessler. He was awesome.
I enjoyed that. We should have him back.
I agree. That was fun to actually listen to, just somebody that gets it. From like a dad point of view, man's point of view. He hit on some things that I like. You know, him and his wife like hosting Bible studies in small groups and, you know, him always just trying to encourage men and trying to kind of build like a brand or a small business off of encouraging men to be better. It's awesome. Just all around awesome.
Yeah, I could really resonate with, you know, hey, here's some small things you need to start doing to get in better shape.
Yeah.
And getting to know your why. So not just you're trying to lose weight and then.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things that kind of hit home for me is, you know, if your why is not big enough, you're gonna fall off and lose this. You know, you're gonna stop before you get started.
Yeah.
So
then
what's up, man? What are you smiling about?
Well, because then we're like, hey, let's just go ahead and record another episode.
Yeah.
Right. So we usually have things planned. We talk about it. We don't this time.
Yeah.
So you're over there about to take a nap, trying to figure out what we're going to talk about.
You know, just I'm dealing with some work stuff at the moment.
I know.
You know how it goes.
So we said, why not talk about gluttony?
Yeah, great.
Coming off the personal trainer episode last week.
Yeah.
What do you got
to talk about? I'm not a glutton. I feel like I'm a glutton for punishment sometimes.
That is true. I feel like it as well.
I bring my own shovel and I dig my own holes.
I haven't thought much about gluttony in a while.
Okay.
But let's just talk about it.
Let's just wing it.
Let's wing it.
All right.
But here's the thing with gluttony that I think. So maybe talk about some misconceptions that I think some people think you could look around and see who struggles with that sin.
Well, yeah, and some things.
Does that make sense? Like, no, you can't say you can look around and see who struggles with adultery.
Right. I mean, you might be able to look around and see that.
Well, but some people think I can look around and say this person struggles with gluttony.
Okay.
So I think that's a misconception because just because someone is or is not overweight doesn't mean they don't or they do struggle with gluttony.
Well, that's not the only form of gluttony that there is, too.
Yeah.
You know, eating is a big one. But that's not, you know, there's a lot of us that Webster says gluttony is a habitual greed or excess.
Yeah.
Look at the things that we do in our lives habitually that is greedy or in excess of what, you know, we need.
Yeah. There's this old church father, so about the time the church was started, I can't remember which one it was. I'm not going to give the name, but he said, gluttony denotes not any desire of eating and drinking, but an inordinate desire.
Yeah.
So it's not just like eating and drinking too much, but it's a desire for something too much.
Well, I think that we've talked about this before, too. It's kind of gluttony almost puts whatever that thing is in front of God. Like you are putting whatever it is, whether it's eating, it's drinking, it's money, it's whatever it is, you're putting that in front of God. And when you do that, it becomes gluttony.
Yeah, so I think that's the area we got to focus on from a Christian perspective of gluttony is not that it's going to give you a fat waistline,
right?
But that it's going to give you a fat soul that's unhealthy.
Yeah, it's going to give you a separation.
Right. So we want to separate like that physical and spiritual, but really like when we talk about gluttony, it's that spiritual aspect. Now, it definitely plays over in the physical.
For sure.
But yeah, so yes, you could overeat, right, which is going to hurt you physically.
Yeah.
But some of that you're overeating because you refuse to push back from the table, but are you trying to use food to replace God?
Right.
Yeah, because what's interesting when you think about gluttony is like there are things God created for us for good to enjoy, and what He created for good, we use for the opposite of that.
Yep.
Sometimes.
Or we use in excess.
In excess, yeah.
I think that's kind of the biggest thing is just in excess. I mean,
yeah.
You know, if you would, I don't know, if you were talking to somebody and just kind of almost had to dumb it down a little bit, but you just, instead of using the word gluttony, you would just use in excess. I think it would really drive home the point a lot further. Yeah. You know, you eat in excess, you drink in excess, you party in excess, you put everything, or you put things in front of God in excess. And I think if you kind of make it almost more relatable, you know, it almost hits home a little better.
Yeah, and I think it's like, where do you turn to?
Yeah. Like even work, like, and I'm guilty of this, so I don't have a problem speaking about it. But it's you know, even work, or I work in excess, and you know, and I'm not very good at you know, like work-life balance, and you know, I put other things in excess, and when you think about it that way, you know, kind of backs you into a corner a little bit.
It does, and I think food though, like I do think there's some specifics of food with gluttony, right? And so I think it's one of those things that we do turn to sometimes. At least I'm guilty of it. If I have a rough day, I'm going to slam some bowls of Lucky Charms that night.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to make me feel a lot better.
We're going to load up on sugar or load up on carbs and,
yeah, right. Or, I mean, like, you and your girlfriend break up or you're having a rough day and all of a sudden you turn to alcohol, right? And you just drink until where the opposite of that, like, so I have a rough day, I should go home and spend some time with God and let him know about my rough day and look for comfort there instead of that bowl of Lucky Charms.
To fill in the time with God.
And then what happens is that creates all kinds of physical health problems, also in my soul. So then there's like all these issues that come out of that. And our culture has a problem with that. That's where we turn for so many things.
Right.
I mean, so that's what we talked about last week with Michael.
Yeah.
Like it's
just not living life in balance.
Yeah. You stay busy and that's constantly living for enjoyment. And gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Right.
The big 7.
Yeah.
Which part of it, like gluttony can kill you. Like I know all those can and talking about your soul and different things, but
gluttony could actually kill you. Or it can kill you, depending on what you're, whatever you're chasing in excess.
I think a few years ago I heard a study that 1 in 5 U.S. deaths are related to obesity.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, something that same study's like
Man,
2/3 of all.
Though, I get it.
2/3 of all adults are considered overweight or obese.
Wow.
Children was really high on the ones considered overweight, obese. So not only have we have a problem ourselves with this running to food for everything.
Yeah.
We've now passed that on to the next generation as well.
Crazy to think about.
It is. And it's crazy that church culture doesn't look much different.
Yeah.
But it should. Like it really should, right? Yeah. So if our bodies are a temple, if we supposed to turn to God for our nourishment of our soul, we should look different if we're Christians. Like if you're a Christian man, it should look different what you turn to.
Yep. Nice job.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've felt convicted
Stepping on
about
people's toes today.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I've stepped on my own a lot.
It's not going to hurt because, you're not a glutton and you don't weigh very much.
Well, the problem is like gluttony can still be a problem, right? It's like even if you're physically fit, you still need to hear about this message because food can become really like a functional God to you, to where you turn food, alcohol, that you turn to those in place of God.
Yep.
So I don't know.
What
do you think? You look like you're thinking something over there.
No, I just think about all the things that I do in excess now. I wasn't kidding when I said you're backing me into a corner, kind of stepping on my toes, but there's things in my life that I do in excess, and I need to seriously watch that. Yeah.
Well, and food's one thing. I think sex is another thing. It's the reason there's such a problem with pornography.
Yeah.
Is that we just turn to that.
Yep.
It's easy. I've had a rough day. My wife's mad at me.
Yep.
I can just jump on a computer.
I was thinking about something the other day. Now that you say that, we talk about reels, and we talked about them before in the past, like people Facebook reels or Instagram reels, and you're just watching, 20-second video after 20-second video after 20-second video, and you look up, and hours have passed by, and you just you've sent your friends 46 videos, and because they need to see it too, and it's almost that instant gratification without having to do any work. I mean, it's a simple swipe. You get 20 seconds of enjoyment, and if you don't like it, you just swipe again.
Yeah.
There's no real energy or anything that goes into it, but you talk about gluttony, and I mean, if you're sitting there for hours on end, I mean, you're almost being a glutton in that sense of just trying to get that, instant enjoyment.
Yeah. Whatever it is, you just can't say no to it. Right. So, I mean, so your stomach speaks to you.
Yeah.
You're hungry, which God intended like hunger to say, hey, you need to get some nutrients. You need to get some food. So your stomach's like, no, you need to eat right now. That ho-ho, or what do you call them? Not little Debbie's.
Big Deborah's.
The big Deborah's sitting over there. That ho-ho looks really good. Like, so your stomach's like, you need to eat that. And all of a sudden you become a slave to your stomach. Like, man, that does sound good. I think I'm going to eat that.
Yeah.
Even though it's unhealthy, it's not wise.
Yep.
Or I'm going to supersize that meal because my stomach's telling me I should. And if you don't, then your stomach's
like... They don't offer that anymore,
Yeah, it's true. And then if you don't eat it, your stomach gets irritable and starts talking to you.
And you get hangry.
Then you get hangry. Then you get stingy and selfish with your food. And you think it's all a food problem, but it's actually deeper than that.
Yeah.
That you have a God problem, that you're not saying no to your stomach.
Right.
So you become a slave to it, whatever it may be. So food's not a bad thing.
Right.
But it becomes a God force.
Yeah.
Sex isn't a bad thing.
Right.
God created that for good. But
yeah.
It can become a bad thing.
Work isn't a bad thing. Money isn't a bad thing. But anything in excess is a bad thing.
Yeah. Or you turn to that. You're turning to something that God is supposed to be in your life and trying to use that to replace it.
Yeah.
So food becomes a comfort to you when you're having a rough day.
Yeah.
Versus going to God for that comfort. It's been it's good so far.
Right.
But I think so let's say food's a problem, like eating too much gluttony.
Yeah.
I think one of the things God did give us is fasting.
Yeah.
Is important for us to look at. I mean, That's there all over Scripture. We see Jesus fasted for 40 days. We
Yep.
see the importance of fasting. I think fasting is kind of a lost art.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really hear about, it seems like modern culture, really fasting anymore.
Yeah.
You read about it in the Bible plenty, but you don't hear about it much. And then
No.
the times that I do hear about it, it's, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like for health benefits?
Yeah, well, either for health benefits or it's some of the, I can't think of the word, but it's some of the more crazier, like, churches. I
Just
see
don't
you
name
over
any.
there.
Just
What's
don't
that?
name any churches.
I'm not going to name any local ones, but, it's the people that are a little more spiritual. Is that the word?
Yeah, I think here's what I think about fasting is that if you got a problem with food,
Yeah.
and this is like you listen to your stomach, you don't need to diet, you need to fast, because dieting's like, hey, I'm trying to get healthy, I'm trying to stop eating so many calories or
Right.
whatever. Fasting is saying I'm trying to determine in my life who is in control.
Yeah.
So I'm letting my body see that God is really in control of my life, who calls the shots in my life. And so when I stay away from, I know some people say you could fast from some other things, and that's true. You could do a social media fast and things,
Yeah.
but here just talking specifically with food.
Yep.
If I say I'm going to fast for 8 hours or 24 hours or 3 days,
Yeah.
when I get hungry, my urge to give into that control is, no, my belly's not calling the shots. I'm
Right.
going to God. I'm going to pray. I'm going to seek Him during this time. I'm going to evaluate where I'm at right now. And it's forcing your body to see that He is better than that Snickers bar.
Right.
And so it seems like one of those things that seems so easy. I think it's the reason we don't do it.
Yeah.
Yet if we were honest and look at our life, we probably struggle with gluttony and probably need to make sure that fasting's a part of that.
Yep. I agree.
So it's that gluttony. It's really like a vertical problem that we don't have that vertical relationship with God, and we're just horizontally looking for food to solve that. So yeah, so gluttony's interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Are you hungry? You look like you need a Snickers.
I could use a Snickers. I actually have a Snickers over there on the desk
Do you
waiting
really?
for me when we get done.
Well, I'd like it if you fasted first.
So you can have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would encourage you guys, like if you don't fast,
Right.
like really do some research on it. Maybe we could do an episode sometime about
Yeah,
fasting.
I think we talked about it once before when we
Yeah.
were fasting, I don't know, 6 months ago or
Well,
something.
yeah, we did the 21 days of prayer
Yeah.
and fasting. Yeah.
Yep. That was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
Like me, I have never fasted before, so
Mhm.
really good learning experience.
Well, and Scripture says, like in Matthew, it says, when you pray like this. Where I was like, okay, everyone should pray. That same passage says, when you fast,
Yeah.
do this,
Right.
which would imply that you should fast.
That everyone should fast.
Right. So
Yep.
we have no problem as Christian men saying everyone should pray.
Right.
But then how many times do you hear sermons with guys saying, hey, and you should be fasting? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to tell everyone to do it, but you need to be fasting.
We're probably not going to do all that.
Right. Because praying, I mean, I'm not going to say praying's easy because we all struggle maybe with a prayer
Yeah.
life, but it's not that hard, right? To
Right.
spend some time in prayer.
Yeah. But
Fasting all of a sudden, you're telling
actually-
your body no to something.
Well, it actually takes a little dedication.
It does, which is good, right?
It is. It's and men need dedication.
They do.
Well, I mean, we all need dedication, but men need purpose and dedication,
Yeah.
and they got to actually put a plan into action and then follow through with it.
Yeah. And there's a ton of health benefits from fasting as well, I think. I know.
Just like the intermittent fasting thing.
The intermittent fasting and
Do you
several.
do that?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm pretty well every day.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting.
Nice.
So, yeah.
How's that go? Like, for instance, like what's your intermittent fasting look like?
Just
curious.
A normal day for me would be I eat in an 8-hour window.
Okay.
So I'll eat from, depends on the day, maybe noon to 8.
Okay.
So from 8 o'clock at evening, I won't eat anything again until noon the next day.
Gotcha.
And so
Does that work out well for you?
it does for me.
Because like I know you work out in the mornings too, right?
I do, yeah. So I've had to work around some things with that. But yeah,
Okay.
for me, it's worked great. I
Nice.
did it for some health reasons.
Okay.
And it's helped.
Nice. That's great.
So, but yeah,
Right.
I think there's other benefits to other types of fast as well.
Yeah.
So there's health benefits, but I think there also should be times, even myself, where I pull off and I'm fasting for a spiritual reason.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Right, and it looks different.
Yep.
So this is
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anything else on gluttony?
No, I don't think so. But think about it. If you're doing anything in excess,
Yeah.
think about why first off, and then what are you replacing?
That's a good one.
Yep. I mean, because you're obviously replacing something in your life with whatever action it is: drinking too much, eating too much, working too much sex, too much.
Yeah.
If there is such
Whoa.
a thing, But just really think about like what are you replacing with the action that you're doing right now?
And you got to replace it with something. We talked about that, like that put off, put on. Like
Yep.
if you're going to put off eating, you need to put on something else to replace it. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there staring at the big Deborahs,
right.
and you're going to take them. But if you put on that,
yeah, my willpower is not that strong.
Right,
if I can't see it because I'm working out or I'm doing something, to fill in that time, or even praying like we talked about, or anything, just and make sure whatever you're spending your time in is healthy. Mm-hmm. That way, you're not replacing something unhealthy with something else unhealthy. Hey.
So I think a lot of times we do this podcast and we talk about things.
Yeah.
What about if we just try to offer a challenge?
All right.
To guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to look like. Let's just talk through it here.
Well, let's think about the things that, think about the things that we can, or that we say that we can quit, mm-hmm. or that we can stop doing so much, or, what do those things look like in our lives? And then let's challenge ourselves, but, each other. We'll be each other's accountability partner, I guess. But let's challenge anybody listening, too.
Yes, let's say...
What's something that you say that you can quit, no problem? Can you fast from it for a week? It doesn't have to be food.
Yeah.
It can be anything.
So I would encourage you guys, even if you do fast from time to time, but if you never have, this week, find something to fast from. So maybe you're going to fast from food for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend the time when you're hungry. You're going to, if you're married, you're going to pray for your wife or for your kids or for your church.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to pray for the Tough Men of Faith episode.
Right.
I don't know. But be very set a goal this week that you are going to try to do this.
Yeah.
Or let's say, do you struggle with pornography?
Yeah.
Hey, this week, make it the week where anytime you're tempted to pick up that phone and look at something, you're going to set it down and you got a buddy you're going to text.
Right.
Or you're going to pull up, or I don't know, whatever app you use or however you're looking at it, you're going to delete that from your phone right now. You're going to put on the Bible app.
Right.
And whenever you're tempted this week to pull out that phone, look at it, you're going to pull up and start reading from the book of John.
Yep.
Something very specific this week that you're going to let that say that you are not my God.
Right. You don't have control. I have control.
Yeah.
And see if you can do it.
Yeah, so I think that's two of the big ones. Maybe it's something else in your life.
It could be social media. It could be...
Yeah, so maybe the reels. We talked about that hey, this week you're going to, maybe for 24 hours, you're going to delete Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use. You're going to delete it off your phone. And
just don't let that have the excess, don't give that, so much attention in your life, and don't let it be, excessive.
One of my favorite quotes, I don't remember exactly, comes from John Piper, and he said something like that one of the benefits of social media is that when we stand before God, we won't be able to tell him we didn't have enough time to pray.
Right.
Because he'll just be able to pull up the time we spent on social media. Yeah. I thought, man, that's convicting.
Yeah.
So maybe this week it's social media is what you feel you need to fast from.
Yep. Yeah, just try it out.
Try it. So
just try fasting, and just try looking at your life and figuring out where the gluttony is at.
Yeah. And I would ask,
we all have it.
Yeah, and ask God, Holy Spirit, to reveal that to you.
Yeah.
Pray, hey, what's an area I need to work? Most of the time we know that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
we already know the answer.
And if you don't, Nick, just let me know and I can let you know.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, just call my wife and ask her what I'm a glutton for, and she'll just say punishment. But, anyway. No, that's awesome. Really good episode, really.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, go back and listen last week to Michael Schussler's episode. And
that's a good one.
Talk to him. And
Yep. Yeah, reach out to him if you need a guy.
That's
you need
true.
A fitness instructor, somebody just to help even just walk you through, just being a dad, and he can hit on religion, and he can hit on improving your lifestyle. It'd just be a really good idea.
Yeah, and he does most of his work remote now, online, a lot of it. So no matter where you're at in the country,
exactly.
Over the world,
you don't have to meet him anywhere.
You don't have to meet him anywhere. And he can do that. So
you guys can FaceTime and but he'd make a really good accountability partner.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Anything? What'd you learn today?
Don't be a glutton.
Okay. That's good.
But no, share this on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Share it to your social medias, and give it a like.
Yep, sounds good.
Share. And when we run out of these next, 4,000 bumper stickers, then we'll have to go buy more and send them out.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening.
See you later.